Paranoia is in bloom. The PR transmissions will resume. They'll try to push drugs to keep us all dumbed down and hope that they will never see the truth around. Another promise, another scene, another package lie to keep us trapped in greed. Another green bells wrapped around our minds, an endless red tape to keep the truth confined. They will not force us. They will stop degrading us. They will not control us. We will be victorious.
There we go. I forgot to bring us back in the stream. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I see Matt and Miguel. Thank you guys. Can't make out anyone else's avies at this point. But I have one of our favorite guests here joining, Chrstina from East Palestine area. She is one of the affected residents that are around East Palestine. She is on the Pennsylvania border. But as you all know, if you've seen my previous shows with her, she is certainly affected, as are way too many others. So we wanted to do an update tonight. We just passed the 11-month mark since the derailment. We are coming upon a year, February 3rd, and they are still not getting any help. And, you know, a few pieces of news the past 2 days. They're putting $1 million towards a PR firm to help spruce up the image of East Palestine, to hopefully bring in new businesses and new residents, instead of giving the $1 million to the, you know, the residents. That's PR is important. And then there was also a I don't know if you guys have heard me talk about this, but they are also taking some of the contamination and thinking that they can bring it in trucks to other places to remove it. And yeah, that crashed. So a lot to talk about. So Chrstina, thanks so much for joining again. I know you definitely have some things on your mind, so take it away. Can you hear me? You might be on mute. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Bear with us, peoples. Try exiting and coming back in. Like, a lot of people in EP have dial up, and I'm not even playing. Like, a lot of people do. That's how you learn if you have patience. I don't at all. But yeah, we're going at over 11 months now. I'm going back to East Palestine either the January 31st or February 1st. And I'm doing another fundraiser to try and get some more mutual aid. Let's see, here we go. Let's see. Okay, can you say something now? There we go. There we go. All right, take it away, Mama.
So I think that I don't know, last few weeks it seems that myself and other people that I talk to are having a lot of like depression, anxiety, and hopelessness. um like the one, since I think it has some to do with the 1 year coming up, but it's like we've been talking to everybody. We've been showing everything that we possibly can to show that there's stuff wrong here. And like it seems like the people we reach out to, like the media a lot, like they'll come and they'll listen and they write their articles and everything. But the people that we really need to listen aren't listening. And one of them being the president, one of them being the FEMA guy that was supposed to come here and talk to people and never did talk to people. Um, we've talked the EPA's ears off. um, and another report was made up the other day from NASM, which is the National Academies of Science and something engineering and medicine. And they've reading through the report, it seems like what they're seeing from us is what we are talking about, like the mental health stuff. There's obviously people sick, and like for the national academies to recognize that there are things that we could use help for here and not other people, it's really frustrating. And then we, like, even reading through that report, some of the stuff that we've been told, like about testing in the beginning, with Mark Durno saying that the air testing in people's homes wasn't going down to a level that was low enough. Like you can smell butyl acrylate, for instance, before it's a danger to you. But like their testing wasn't sufficient. And then the EPA goes back and says, no, it was sufficient. And then he comes out and he says, no, it's not sufficient. In this thing that just released a few weeks ago or a few days ago. And so, like, which is it?
Yeah.
We still don't have answers. People are still sick. Some people are getting sicker. And it's just so frustrating. Like, I suppose, like, if you live here and you've been going through the, like, mental health stuff and the sicknesses and everything, then you understand.
Yeah.
But if you're not experiencing anything, it's just like nothing happened.
You know, I don't think I even told any of you guys this because it's so minimal in comparison. But, you know, just after being there twice, you know, there's a train, it's a couple miles from my house. It's not like it's next door. But I was sitting out back about 2 months ago with my dog, and a train went by and it was like boop, boop, and it did the, you know, the honk. And I jumped about 3 feet and I thought, holy shit, I've never done that in my life. And I just did that after being there 2 days and talking with these people. So I can't imagine what you guys are going through, because you hear that shit all the time.
I notice, like, when I'm in town and you hear like the train horn blow for, it seems like longer than normal, you're like, is something about to happen?
Yeah.
I live almost 6 miles away, and I grew up out there, out like where I live, and never really noticed the train before February 3rd. But now I can hear the train in East Palestine from my house. It's like you're like tuned into it.
Yeah.
um but another thing is, like, we go, at least I have been going to my doctor for like checkups and stuff since the train happened. And we go to our doctors, and they're like, well, look, we don't know what these chemicals do to people. They've never really been tested, and they've never been tested together. um so like they don't really know what to do for us. um and that's frustrating as well, because like if we go back to the EPA and people who are supposed to be helping us, they won't say that they don't know. And if we just hear, I don't know, it's better than telling us a lie.
Yeah. Like when we were in the meeting with Mark Durno of the EPA in East Palestine, and he brought up meats and onions and garlic as far as side effects. Uh, these people they have no shame. It's truly incredible. He did, however, acknowledge you guys have PTSD. However, it seemed like it was in a very flippant way. I know when you guys had Norfolk Southern did one of their wonderful things, like have fireworks and a 4th of July celebration for you guys, because obviously that's more important. I know a lot of people were saying that they had PTSD when they heard those explosions of those fireworks.
Yeah. Some people, I remember them saying that they were like hiding in their houses because they were so like traumatized by the noise of fireworks. I noticed over New Year's, normally you can hear fireworks, and this year I didn't really hear any. Um, a lot of my feelings right now is like there's just so much anxiety, and it really is like to the point where you're feeling like you just want to crawl out of your skin. It's so bad. Like, um, I had already seen a therapist before, but I just talked to him yesterday, and I was telling him about how much anxiety I have, and like, is there anything that I can get to help my anxiety? And he said, well, unfortunately, it's going to be like 3 months until we can get you in to see somebody to get any kind of medication. And like, it's so bad. Like, you feel like 3 months is going to be forever.
And it's not like they're going to give it to people for free.
Yeah.
That's what's, when we were talking to Durno and he's like, the NIH is coming, and I'm like, but what's that going to do for people who need health care? We're going to do studies. What does that do for people who need to go to a doctor? The NIH is coming, and they're going to do all kinds of studies. you're not listening to me. What is it going to do for people? And then they didn't end up coming anyway. So it's
Right.
like, what are you guys supposed to do? Does I know back a minute ago there was a I'm not sure if they were a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but they were volunteering to, in the future, see you guys free of charge online. Did that ever pan out?
There is a group that was going to be setting up. I don't think it was really a clinic, but the oh, I can't remember the name of it. It's like a community project thing, but they were going
Yeah.
to be like mental health and stuff like that. Oh, actually, some things I just was listening to last night or the night before and reading was that they had gotten a federal grant to start that program, but also Norfolk Southern donated to start that program too. And so it's
What?
another that's just like they're like they've got their fingers in everything.
So does that mean they get to pick the doctors?
I think it's still through Columbiana County
But
mental
if
health.
they donate some of the money,
Yeah, for me, like I've even said to my doctor, like I wouldn't mind participating in that, except I don't want to be part of that if Norfolk Southern has their money into it.
because they probably have something where they can. I mean, I worked in in healthcare for over 10 years, and I know HIPAA is a thing, and I know there can be lawsuits. But people, entities like Norfolk Southern feel very entitled, and I wouldn't be surprised if they would, if they have their hand in that, because they would want to see people's reports. What are these doctors writing down from these meetings? Is that illegal? Absolutely. But so is other stuff they're doing. And that's my concern. I mean, they haven't done anything to help people. Why would they? That that worries me.
Like I've told people too, just like keep having to go back to Norfolk Southern for anything in regards to help is
Yeah,
like being forced to go back to a person who abuses you
absolutely.
over and over again. And it's like they did this to us. Why do we need to go to them for help?
Exactly. It's unconscionable. And, with this 1 year around the corner, can you speak to, how, when that 1 year hits, people are going to lose their hotel stays and lodging if they were, ones of the ones who were, I'll say, lucky enough for them to even consider helping and reimbursing.
On February 9th is when they're gonna stop doing the relocation program. So I think that's another thing that has everybody really anxious and stuff too, because there are people who are going to have to go home to a place that could possibly still make them sick. I've been in some people's houses where, like, I still feel sick going into their house.
And they refuse to test it for people before they send them back. That's the thing. Well, maybe there won't be toxins. It's been a year. Test it.
And they
Just
just,
test it. They
uh,
won't.
I don't know if they started it for sure or not yet, but they've mentioned, the EPA has mentioned that they're going to be doing vapor intrusion uh sampling or something in businesses along the tracks. In the NASM report, it also mentions that we should have vapor intrusion sampling done as well. So why just the businesses?
Because they bring money. What is that exactly? Do you know?
Well, what I read that they were going to do is they drill a hole into the floor of the business and see if there's like vapors that come up from underneath, like from under the ground, which
Okay.
is kind of like how I see it. I know that some people live right above the creek and they have pipes that go right down to the creek. So wouldn't it be the same thing?
Yeah, yeah. But then oh God, what if they drilled down and it busted a pipe? That would be a whole other clusterfuck. But the thing is, there's so many chemicals which have been found that I don't know if we can be presumptuous we that we would be sure that, like, they may say, oh well, nothing came up, and there may be 100 different chemicals down there that just didn't come up, or they'll say, well, only one came up and it's treatable, but maybe there's 5 other ones that are laying dormant.
Uh, a few weeks ago, oh, well, it was before Christmas, that I met with Mark Durno again, and he had told me that they have a thing, some testing that's going to be coming out where it shows, like with the creeks, that not everything in the creeks is legacy chemicals. They have gone and found ethyl hexyl acrylate and I believe it was vinyl chloride in the creeks. And so the railroad can't say that it's just legacy chemicals anymore.
But he said this to you in a meeting. Has he put out a press conference?
No.
That's the bullshit he does all the time. He says shit like that to get people to think he's on their side, and then he doesn't say a damn thing.
Yep.
Everyone deserves to hear that. Everyone deserves
Yeah.
that shit in writing.
And we need them to start telling us the truth because
Yeah.
we know just by what we have experienced that everything isn't the truth. He actually asked me in the same meeting if I felt the EPA was lying to us. And I told him yes, and I told him no, because I think that they have lied to us about a lot of stuff, but I think that there is stuff that they have told us the truth about too. But we need them to speak up so that we can have help.
You're so nice. I would have been like, y'all motherfuckers lie once, you're liars. Like, they Durno is such a weasel. Like, when you talk to him, he tries so hard to manipulate to get you to be like, oh, he's on our side. He's a good dude. He's just doing his job. He's a fucking sociopath. I can't I know how frustrated I get when I visit. I can't even fathom. It's so crazy. You guys don't have the help of local, state, or federal government. You I don't know, like, what's it gonna take?
Right. And he also had asked me, like, where do we go from here? Because we had been talking about the divide that's in town. And I think without them starting to speak up as well, that divide is always going to be there.
Absolutely.
But he had said, so where do we go from here? And I had mentioned, like, well, starting with like the creek. Those of us who have gone to the creeks for months now, like, we know that there is no way to get all that out of the creek. And they just need to tell us that. Like, they've gone and cleaned up culverts and tunnels in the creek, down like at the creek, and the stuff is still there outside of the tunnels. There's no way to clean it up. And when I told him that, he said in all his experience, he can't see any way that they can clean it up.
I mean, they can't. There's no way. It's not possible. They can scoop as much as they want out, but it is fermented in that soil as deep down as it possibly could go. I mean, you see it even when the top of the water, for instance, looks like you poke a stick down in and it's like rainbow swirls. I mean, it's so beyond salvageable. But yet, when we met with him, he was like, the water is 100% safe. And he kept saying it over and over and over. Now, I don't believe that he really believed that. I don't believe that he was told that. I think it's like they don't want people to speak out. It's awful for them. But I know a lot of the residents as well, rightfully so. You guys are concerned more and more time that goes by. It's like if they were going to do something when they have done it in the beginning, it's just I don't know.
Like, it just feels like it's time for them to start giving us answers that we already know, but like, just start telling everyone the truth. Like, you don't know what to do. You
Yeah.
don't know how these chemicals all together combine in a person's body to know how people are sick or not. And the EPA, it's like they refuse to acknowledge that multiple chemicals do something to people rather than just looking at one chemical and is it over the limit. Like, we had a douse of chemicals go into our body. It's going to affect us in some way. It's not just one thing. There's a reason that there were 45,000 fish dead in the creek.
Yeah. I think one of the things that is starting to kind of wake some people up from what I've heard is building that $25 million park. I mean, like with that, I know that the homes in East Palestine are affordable, we'll say. Not now because everyone lost their freaking job, but before. I mean, a lot of mortgages were like 600-700 a month. So you take $25 million. Okay, so let's divide that. That literally, given $100,000, 250 people get a brand new home. What the fuck's the problem? But yet you'd rather use that money on a fucking park, uncontaminated land. There is no priorities. It is all PR. That's what's so disgusting. And now they're coming out hiring a PR firm for almost $1 million to get people to move into the area. You won't even help the people who already live here.
They have a program that they did, Norfolk Southern started, where they would, if your house would not sell for what it was worth before the derailment, they would make up the difference. Um, so for instance, if your house was worth $100,000 before and you could get 70,000 out of it, they would give you the remaining. But you have to go through uh, a person who does the assessments. You have to go through them, who the railroad chooses, to do an
Right.
assessment, see what your house is worth.
And then the paperwork said it might take up to 2 years, first of all. And it said that there's an approval process. So
Right.
not even everyone who does it is going to be approved. And if they are, they may have to wait up to 2 freaking years.
Right.
Like, what are you guys going to do? Pull money out of your ass to move and then hope it gets paid for? It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. So you said that they're willing to test the businesses. I know a lot of the businesses haven't been open and a few have shut down. Are there ones that are planning on reopening?
I would suppose they are. I think some of them are already open. Um, there is the one, Ceram Fab, that is right next to the tracks that had all the trains in their backyard, basically.
Right.
He had just done the guy had just done an interview with Rick Chai yesterday, and he had said he has had to shut down his factory, um, because he had his employees go back on February 13th, but some of them had gotten sick. So when they had gotten sick, he sent them to the hospital, and they came, or their doctor, and they came back with doctor's notes saying they couldn't come back to work. And so he decided to shut his factory down. He can't sell his product, I guess, either, from something else I had read. But so he was forced to close his factory. He has two others in East Palestine, and he had relocated the one or two of them to Beaver Falls, which is, it's about like 7 to 10 miles from East Palestine in Pennsylvania. But it's like he had a pretty big business. He's the guy that I guess also decided to sue Norfolk Southern, and
Well,
I don't
didn't you for like 50 million or something?
I yeah,
It
it was
was
a
a
lot.
lot.
Yeah. And in that interview with Rick Chai, Rick had said to him, like, so part of him running, he's running for congressman now. And part of him running is for people like this guy, because the guy was not originally from America. He's from China, and he came here to build his dreams, and now he's lost it. And I
It's
think
all,
that happened to, it's not just so much like people from other countries that are here, but like that's another thing that's been taken from us, is like a lot of people, they had homes and they can't live in them anymore, and they've worked their whole lives for that.
and many are multi-generational.
Mm-hmm.
That's what sucks. I mean, some people are saying this, I grew up here, my grandparents grew up here, my parents grew up here, and these are legacy homes. And
Yeah.
so people are now being put in this hostage situation. Some people were never able to leave. and who were directly affected. And then some people who, were lucky enough to get reimbursed here and there are being faced with, okay, you are going to live in your car. You're going to find out a way to pay for this hotel yourself, or you're going to go back home and just hope you don't get super sick. You're going to get sick, but hopefully it's not too bad.
And there have been some people who they've been in a hotel now for so long that like they don't have they were renting in town, and they've given up their leases to their apartments now, and they don't have a place to go home to.
Yeah. Shout out to Zusa. I think of her all the time. I mean, imagine having a little boy and living in a hotel for a year.
Yeah.
Like,
Drive me.
what's that?
That would drive me crazy.
Oh my God. It would drive me insane. And her poor son. I mean, I don't know how you explain that to a kid. Well, your little guy, Eddie, I mean, his whole life he's dealt with 3 years of COVID and then 1 year of this. I mean, and Kyla, it's just like these kids haven't had a break. They deserve a childhood.
I was just gonna say they haven't gotten to be kids.
No, not at all. Can you speak to, I know some of the stuff we've been talking about, like on the down low, but can you speak to any of the stuff that's going on in EP for the 1 year anniversary?
There's another person in town that's going to be doing something at her house. I'm not really sure exactly what the plans are for anything like yet. And then Unity Council is also planning something that will be at McKim's. It's a like a winery in town, and it's all like where they had the Cuomo show, and we're trying to think of something that is going to be like healing for people too.
Definitely.
So we're still trying to figure out the details of it, but
I'm so happy to come back and see everyone. For those watching, I will be live streaming. I haven't said this publicly, I don't think, but a university in Michigan reached out to me, and they are having me lecture their honors communications class on what's going on in East Palestine. And I'm getting an honorarium, so I'm going to use that to put it directly to my transportation, and it should cover my transportation and one of my hotel nights. So since it's a lecture on EP, I'm putting it right on that. I haven't raised nearly enough for the hotel and everything, but that's like my afterthought. If you guys have any a few bucks you want to throw in, we are collecting money for mutual aid for East Palestine again. My hope after talking to Unity Council is that like myself and Max Alvarez from Real News and Working People's Pod did last month, we raised I think it was $6,550 for gift cards for residents. Now, it sounds like a lot of money, but that there were 183 people who signed up. So people only got a $35 gift card because of the need. So I'm trying to raise much more than that. But I know it's a hard time and not everyone is able to give. Um, Matt, do you mind putting the link in here? It's on my Twitter pinned post. Max said he wants to do another fundraiser show, so hopefully we'll be able to do that and get some more funds. But yeah, regardless, I'll be going out to do some coverage um to see my family. What is something you want to leave the viewers with, and to, let them know that they may not be seeing on the news?
Well, uh, I think that one thing I did want to mention is that we heard from some people that we did sampling with. We heard from them today um, that they're going to be coming out with their final report next week, probably, um, of what is in their sediment test results.
Is this Scott?
No, these are other
Oh,
people.
okay.
Um, I I've seen the results somewhat already. I haven't seen the final report, but I suppose everything isn't as it seems with the EPA. I can say that much. Um, the water results, I can say from what I've heard is that the water was okay, but the sediment was not. So,
Right, and even if you say the water is okay, once you let's say you get in the water, you step on the sediment and it comes up.
right.
So, like, just even if the surface is okay, it's not.
And if it's in the sediment, it's working its way down into groundwater.
Right.
So,
Right.
um, we don't know. Like, there's not very much space between the surface water and the groundwater around here. So,
Right.
um,
Wow.
so there's that. But I think that a lot of people don't realize like how much trauma does come with a disaster. I was just talking to with Jamie earlier about like for a year now we've pretty much been in fight or flight mode,
Yeah.
and it's like it's just really exhausting to go that long just like basically fighting for your life
Yeah.
and not knowing what to do because we still don't have answers
No.
almost a year later.
What is your I know a lot of you guys think about the kids when you guys are down and say, I'm doing this for the kids. And that's why you're all incredible parents. What are some of the other things that you guys look to keep fighting?
I think it is mostly for our kids because like they have, especially with even younger kids, like there's been people who have had babies and stuff since, but like everything that they're gonna have to deal with as they get older, um and what kind of help is there going to be for them. um I don't allow my kid to go near the creek anymore. I don't allow him to play in the park up here anymore. And so it's like that's taken away from them being kids
Yeah.
and taken away so many memories and like hopes and dreams and like it's changed so much. For me, like I had first started going down the creeks and seeing what was going on. So it was like a way, looking for a way to fight for people, looking for a way to fight for the environment, and looking for like a way to fight for the animals that had already been killed. So like it's just everything you're fighting for at home and all around you.
Absolutely. And you guys have learned, and we have witnessed that if you guys do not do it yourselves and with the community, nothing gets done. I mean, Scott Smith has been out, what, 2 dozen times now? Um, I've had him on my show a few times, you guys. He's an independent water tester who keeps going out to EP and doing his own tests. And Norfolk Southern has subpoenaed him for his test. They're bad. Let's just say that. So Scott is like, bring me to court. Let's go. Because when I'm there, I can reveal my tests. He found that the EPA's tests were 1 decimal off, meaning, oh, these test results are fine. Yeah, you actually moved them all with the decimal 1 spot over. So that's the kind of bullshit they do. And thankfully, because of people like Scott, who are willing to say, fuck the system, I'm going to keep doing this myself. Because we've been asking EPA and such for independent testing. Like when we were in that meeting with Mark, I said, why can't we have independent testers? And he's like, we are. The EPA are hiring some. And I'm like, no, that's not independent. Like they want to control everything. And that's why, how can we trust that?
And then the back to that NASM report, they had actually talked to Mark for that report, and he had mentioned too that he felt like in the future that they do need to collaborate with universities and with independent researchers. So if you think that that should have been done, in my opinion, why don't you do it now?
Yeah, start today, douche nozzle. Like, start today. Oh my God. I don't know how the fuck you put up with him because my God, I hope I never am face to face again with him because, oh my God. Ah, that smarmy little fuck. Weasel. I'm going to keep covering East Palestine, you guys. I have since the day it happened. I'm not going to stop. These people are amazing. They are fighters and they deserve coverage because aside from me and, 2 other shows, there's pretty much nobody covering it and certainly not, um, you know, continuously. So, it's really important to share, like, subscribe. Like I said, donate to the fundraiser if you can. Um, I'll be doing more shows with the residents, of course, as always. And like I said, I'll be going out either January 31st or February 1st for the anniversary. Chrstina, do you have any last words that you want to leave with the audience?
I don't think.
Fuck this system.
I just think that people need to just keep pushing for them to start telling us the truth And I think for everybody else, like the viewers and stuff, just keep thinking of East Palestine and don't ever forget it.
Absolutely. And shout out to the Unity Council of EP. You guys can go to their website. They do have a petition. That's the word. My brain's not working. A petition that has quite a number of signatures, but we need more. They are busting their asses like crazy. Chrstina, Jamie, Hillary, lots of people you know from the show. They are busting their ass. So definitely follow Unity Council EP as well on social media. They're doing great work, and they're just victims of this bullshit who came together to start organizing, actions and what have you on their own because nobody else was. So this is freaking people power. Like East Palestine is people power. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced in my years of being an activist and an organizer. These people have so much heart and passion, and they just want to help each other. And it's incredible. Chrstina, thank you so, so much for joining as always. You guys follow her TikTok. What is your TikTok?
It's Safekeeper 115, and I also have it on YouTube, and it's Safekeeper 115 PA.
Awesome. Yeah, she just got a viral video, over 200,000 views. Awesome. We need more of that. That's what people, when people see the water coverage she's doing, she gets in the creeks. She puts her health at risk every single day, even more so than it is, as well as her boyfriend, Randy, who's hiding in the background because he's scared of me. You're welcome, Randy.
I want to also say one thing too. You said about the petition. There's the petition for Biden, and we've also Hillary has started another petition to try and stop the water authority here, the waste treatment people here, from accepting wastewater from Norfolk Southern and putting it into the village's waste treatment facility as well, because after it leaves there, it goes back into the creek and then into the Ohio River.
Yeah, and as we see, transfer of such things doesn't exactly work out well.
No. But both
Thank
of those
you.
found on the Facebook group. So
Yeah, definitely. If you're on Facebook, follow the Off the Rails, Rick Chai and Tammy Chai's page, and Unity Council for EP's page. There's so much good info and so many posts by the residents who have been affected. So thank you guys again so much for watching. Smash the like, smash the subscribe, and share. Thank you guys. I'll be back next week with some more shows. Thanks, Chrstina.
you.
Take care.